Thank you for introducing me, Ms. Pravina. I'll definitely go ahead without wasting any more time. Okay, before we start off with what exactly is nutrition, how can we increase eating optimum for teens, preteens, and teenagers, let me introduce myself a little bit. I am a nutritionist and I've been working in the field of nutrition for the last 10 years now. And the reason for me to put up this topic in front of you guys is because what we generally see is before teens and after you've completed with your teenage years, the eating pattern of eating healthy habits actually improve because before you're a teen, you're a kid, and your parents are always up and behind your back to eat correctly. And after you finish your 1920s up to 25, you actually start eating because you know that you're aging, and you see your blood parameters going up, see a paunch on the stomach, your physical health coming down. So definitely people start eating better. But what happens is this preteen and teenage years is when we actually start experimenting with food which is outside of our comfort zone, made at home usually, or provided in the hostel, school, mess canteen, and stuff like that. So that's when we go wrong because at that point we are growing. Our bodies need, in fact, a lot of ample of nourishment at that point, and our brain is developing. We are studying. We are into physical activities. Example, into some games or whatever. So that's when we need the most highest form of energy in our body, but that's when we go majorly wrong. This leads to ample of effects, health effects in the later stages of life, which we try to correct, but we are not able to reverse back. Hence, this topic has been curated to make everyone who's listening or probably will listen to this recording aware where we are going wrong and how we can correct ourselves. So, without further ado, let's start with our presentation. What exactly happens when we are eating? Eating itself is a behavior. Let's try to understand it in different perspective. What eating behaviors we have, what drives us to eat when we're eating. It's not that there's a food on the plate and you may be subconscious in the mind. You probably be watching something or you're talking to somebody and you're eating. But what drives us to eat? What makes us hungry? Hunger actually is because when our body is out of energy, our body requires energy. So it induces hunger as a stimulus in our body, and in response, we eat to provide energy to the body that we are in. Okay, some people require higher energy, and this does not mean that it has to be every time that you eat you need higher energy. It could be in that particular moment. So, for example, you've had about 2 hour long play, or you've been into a game, and then when you come back, you might feel really hungry. That's when you increase in your appetite. Okay, but sometimes you were just sitting and maybe you're watching a TV, and when you want to eat food, it doesn't have to be really increase in appetite, really dense in energy. It could be just small snacking as well. So increase in appetite is associated with how hungry you are, which is how energy depleted you are. Okay, and it could be in that moment or it could be for a longer time. Okay, then there is cultural and social forms of eating behaviors. Say, for example, there's a festival, Diwali, Holi, we tend to eat, even if we're not hungry, but we associate those with our cultures. It could be a habit or a custom, again, related to cultural and social events that we work into. It could be something which is as simple as an emotional comfort. You're feeling sad, you've taken a bite of chocolate, or you're eating a tub of ice cream. So these are some of the emotional comfort foods that we lean into, even if we are not hungry. So yes, it's not that our energies are depleted. Our body mistakes it to Hunger because we like those foods. We feel emotionally comfort to those food, and our body sends a signal. Okay, boss, you can take a little bit, and you can have those. Okay, there's convenience, there's advertising, there's marketing of food. On TV, you see some ad of McDonald's, you feel inclined to let's try it out. That's advertising. That's the strategy of advertising. This causes us a false hunger, even when we are not energy depleted, just to kind of try it out. What is convenience? Say you're getting late, you are on your way to school or college, and you're getting late. You don't have time to pack your tiffin. Okay, I'll take some money, grab some vada pav, samosa pav, and eat those. So these are convenient foods. It may not be that you're hungry, but yes, it's easier, it's faster. Even if you feel slightly hunger, you'll probably end up eating such foods. Then there could be nutritional value in foods. Ghar ka khana, homemade food, provided by mom, dad, whoever cooks at your home. So the nutritional value also in at home, especially experienced by kids who are in hostels, they tend to come back at home and they in fact crib about how much they have missed ghar ka khana, and that causes hunger as well. Social interactions. There's a gathering, friends get together, maybe a reunion. All of these causes hunger in the body. Now, you'll see with each and every reason, there is a consequence of how it works if we are not putting our hunger in check. Hunger is basically to replenish energy. Increase in appetite is because we want to replenish energy. However, when there is an increase in appetite, which is prolonged, unchecked, why there is an increase, what kind of food we're eating, it leads to unwanted weight gain. When there's cultural, social events, if it's back to back, a lot of them for a long period of time, you will see there's unhealthy food intake. You really can't avoid it, but if it's unchecked, a lot of unhealthy food intake happens. Habits or customs again lead to unhealthy food weight gain. Say, for example, you have a habit of eating a dessert in the night. And if that's a habit, obviously it's not going to be once in a while, it's going to be very frequent. So that could lead to unwanted weight gain. When there's prolonged emotional distress in the body, there are people who have a tendency to eat to curb their emotions. And when there's prolonged, it leads to imbalance in hormones. Say, for example, if you're suffering from anxiety, depression, you tend to eat a lot of ice creams, may have eating disorders. It can lead to imbalanced hormones and vice versa, aggravate this issue. Convenience in advertising has actually eroded the concept of ghar ka khana, especially in Indian families, and has in fact replaced it with a lot of pre-packaged fast food items. Could be packaged parathas, it could be packaged burgers, wraps, which are not really healthy because they're loaded with preservatives to keep them fresh and only need to be fried or steamed or microwaved. So it can lead to again a lot of unhealthy fats are involved, unhealthy spices are there. So a lot of medical risks can be posed. A lot of obesity can be one of the issues. Now, when we talk about nutritional or when we talk about ghar ka khana nutritional value, you will see an over improvement in overall health because we're eating correct. That could also be one of the reasons why your energy replacements are getting better. And of course, your overall health tends to have a better impact on yourself. Finally, the social interactions, as I said, just like cultural and social customs and habits, if you are going for a lot of parties or a lot of kitty parties and stuff like that, unhealthy food intake comes into picture, which can again lead to a lot of medical issues inside the body and unhealthy food intake and weight gain. What is the result of all of this? The result is energy balance. What is energy balance? Energy balance is nothing but a very simple concept. The more you intake your energy versus the more you expel your energy. Okay. Energy intake is how it's consumed by foods that we eat. It could be healthy and unhealthy, or beverages that we consume. It could be water, colas, sodas, stuff like that versus how much energy we are expelling. I'm talking to you, it's an expelling of energy. You're listening to me, it's an expelling of energy. The growth in the teenage years and preteens that we were talking about, the repair and recovery that the body undergoes through at the end of the day when you're sleeping, and the physical activity that we do, just like we are engaged in right now. It does not have to be that you are in a game or even when you're watching TV, it's something that your body is using to expel energy, to keep you awake, to keep you focused. All of this comes into energy balance. A simple funda, energy intake, if it's higher, your food intake is higher, then the energy expelled, you will see a weight gain, obesity, malnourishment. Energy intake, the food you're taking is lower than the energy expelled, you will see weight loss could further lead to malnourishment. So, what we need to remember is weight gain is not always unhealthy. It could be unhealthy. Weight loss is not always healthy. It could be unhealthy. So, we need to differentiate where we lie and we need to stop the malnourishment. What is malnourishment? It is nothing but when our body is depleted of the actual good nutrients that are required for our body to recover, repair, grow, and feel mentally, socially, physically good about ourselves. Hope all of this is okay. Am I going too fast, going too slow? You could just let me know and we can go ahead accordingly.
Miss Sahiba, it's going very well. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. So, when we talk about obesity, you might be thinking, why preteens and teenagers we're talking about obesity? Obesity is not just an adult concern. I'm sure everyone must have come into notice of certain news about a 30, 35, 32-year-old, somebody running, dies of a heart attack, a 32-year-old on treadmill dies of a heart attack. Is physical activity the culprit? Not really. It's the nutrition which is provided during the preteens and teenagers that is actually the culprit. What happens is such people tend to look at their physical health around their 20s. Okay, I'm not looking good. Let's start working out. Not noticing where the food is going. And what happens is because the food that they're consuming in the habit, which is unhealthy, leads to improper energy intake. Now they're trying to expel that energy out, but the energy intake is not very good, causing the heart to fail at a very young age. So it's not just an adult concern anymore. There are conditions which are seen in children, probably high cholesterol, diabetes, metabolism, impaired glucose tolerance, high blood pressure. There's a social problem where kids are not able to interact socially, they're not able to eat socially properly, choose the correct foods, poor self esteem, there's disturbances. A lot of clients come to me saying, my kid does not sleep at 3 o'clock. What does that mean? It could be the food as well. Of course, it's the social media that we are on these days, but it could be the food as well. Orthopedic problems, bone issues, uh, fractures, ACL tears are very, very common again in teenagers, preteens these days. Obese children and adolescents are more likely to become overweight and obese adults. So remember, this is where we need to correct. Once we get corrected at this age, our life becomes sorted till 60, 65. What are the factors that contribute to obesity? There are a lot of factors, genetic being the major factor. Say if there is a heredity of obese individuals in your family, the kid has a higher likely chances. Now, does that mean that um, Even if I eat healthy, it's only going to cause um, obesity in me because my family members are obese. No, genes are like switches, and what triggers them is the healthy food. So, say if I have a diabetic or obesity gene in me, but if I'm eating correctly, it does not trigger in me to switch it on. That means I won't be obese till the time I'm eating healthy. What it means is I may be inclined to unhealthier foods because I have a tendency to eat unhealthy foods, which means I may have to be very conscious that I'm eating unhealthy. And that could be because my forefathers have been eating unhealthy. But if I consciously try to eat healthier foods, I will not be obese. Similarly, there's another factor which contributes to obesity, which is environment. Say you're somebody who eats ghar ka khana, sleeps on time, everything is fine, but suddenly you have high stress. What do you do to cope up with your stress? You get into comfort foods, fried chips, namkeens, samosas, vada paos, some desserts, a big cup of ice cream. There goes your factors which will contribute to future obesity. If you're somebody who eats very right food, exercises on time, everything is fine, but you don't sleep, probably because you're a kid and you have exams the next day. You need to sleep, you need to be awake because you're studying. What happens? Your body requires energy to stay awake because it's supposed to be sleeping at that time to recover your body. So what you do is you tend to I've had dinner. There's some chocolates in the fridge. There's some namkeen on the cabinet. Let's go ahead and munch that, which will lead to obesity if it's prolonged. Similarly, unhealthy diet. See, you're not eating only घर का खाना. Lunch में Frankie खा लिया, dinner में noodles खा लिए. So this again causes a lot of obesity if the diet itself is unhealthy. Say you're eating correct home cooked food, however, you're not working out. You're sedentary, just under the laptop, phone. That's the only life you're leading. That could lead to obesity. Lack of physical activity can lead to obesity. Hope you understand how the permutation and combination of such factors can lead to obesity on a long-term basis. What we need to remember in such terms is when we eat right and we are active, it can help improve our academic success. It can help improve our health and well-being. What health? Social, mental, physical, and emotional. So if you are somebody who has increased social health, you will be more energetic. You will be more up to and upfront in introducing yourself to the mass community. Your interactions would be better. You won't have stage fears. However, when you're not eating correctly, such things, nervousness, staying introverted, are the things which are associated with unhealthy eating habits. Mentally, you'll be more focused, more challenged, you will be studying better, again, academic success. Physically, you will want to work out, you will want to go ahead and go in the nature, ride a bike, probably play some sport, or you would actually want to be physically active. And emotionally, again, it comes into picture when your hormones are balanced and you're feeling good about how you are in your skin. Physical activity and healthy eating are also related to decrease in obesity that we're talking about. Chronic conditions like malnourishments, bone disorders, fertility issues, which are happening in midlife crisis in today's generation. We're talking about nutritious food, but do we understand what nutritious food consists of? It's basically water, macronutrients and micronutrients. What are macronutrients? It could be a proteins, carbohydrates, fiber, healthy fats. Micronutrients are iron, magnesium, zinc, vitamins, and minerals. Let's talk about water. What is water? It's a major component of blood. Our body is made up of 70% of water, 50 to 60% on a normal water, and 10 to 20% inside the cells and tissues. It is necessary to balance electrolytes and pH in our body. Where does electrolyte and pH work? It works in the stomach when we are neutralizing the food that is being consumed. That's why when we are actually dehydrated, we feel acidic and we talk about heartburn and acid reflux and stuff like that. It also helps in transporting cells and in transporting blood and oxygen to the cells. So when we talk about आपने खाना खाया, it got digested. Now the nutrients are released in blood. How does it help our body? Okay, the blood's there. The blood keeps moving, it keeps circulating. It goes to the part of the organ or the cells or the tissues which require those nutrients and it recharges. That's how it works. Generally, about 8 glasses a day is a general recommendation. However, it's very individualistic for women, men. What kind of workouts you're doing, what kind of food you're eating. Non-vegetarian eaters actually require more water because they need to process that much. Vegetarians, because the vegetables and fruits have certain amount of water, and you're not eating too hard of a protein, so you are able to work around those glasses. But generally, eight glasses, 2 to 3 liters, or 8 glasses is recommended per day of water intake. When we don't do that, what happens is we get dehydrated. Dehydrated is nothing but abnormal depletion of body fluids, which can lead to more water retention. Our body gets into water retention. It retains whatever water it has and does not let it pass to our body in the form of urine, leading to puffy eyes, puffy hands, puffy feet, and we feel bloated, we feel heavy, even when we've not eaten much. So now my question to you would be is what bottled water better? Go ahead, rack your brains, search Google. Is that better or the natural tap water that we intake in day-to-day lives? Is that better? The next nutrient, macronutrient that we're going to talk about is protein. It is the second most abundant protein substance that is found in humans, in the human body after the water. It is basically nothing, but it is a key to every step, everything that you're made up of. Say, for example, you're making a sweater. Okay. So the sweater gets made by wool or the threads, correct? So the wool and threads is actually the protein. So the more wool and thread there is, the more protein is in your body, the better you will look, the better you formed you are. So it's a key to every cell, antibodies, enzymes, hormones, which are secreted internally to regulate your body. It transports oxygen and nutrients to every part of the body. It has a major role in developing and repairing your bones, muscles, skin. The skin is made up of a protein called collagen. It is very necessary or vital for human life. And if you're fighting off infection, if you're recovering from surgery, or there's a blood loss, you're recovering from burns, you may require additional protein sources. That's when the doctor suggests protein powders or supplements and stuff like that. The other nutrient that we're going to talk about is carbohydrate. What is carbohydrate? That's the major or the first source of energy that our body uses to provide, to help you. Say, for example, when you're running, the first 5 minutes of energy, the quick burst energy that you get is from the carbohydrate. And it's very efficient in our day-to-day life. There are two kinds of carbohydrates. There's simple and there's complex.
Miss
Simple is
Sahiba,
a
sorry to interrupt you. We have crossed the 25 minutes now, and we have at least 10 questions lined up. If you can finish the talk, and if you're ready, we can take the questions, ma'am.
Yeah, we can first start with the question and then we can continue with the.
Sure, sure. Should I read out the questions to you? Can we start?
That will be great. Yes.
Sure. The first question is, please tell us about yourself and what made you take an interest in this topic.
So I am a nutritionist, as I said before, and I've been working in this field, in the field of nutrition, from 10 plus years. And the reason why I've been taking this topic is because preteens and teenagers start to experiment a lot with the food. That's when, the parental guidance comes a little lower, and you are free to experiment with the food the way you like. That's when we need to educate our kids what to eat and how to eat correctly. So that's why I took this topic.
Okay. Can you close the PPT and expand your camera screen, please? The audience can have a clear image. They can see you
Sure,
properly. Yeah.
sure, definitely. I'll stop the share.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's regarding the obesity. Is obesity a major problem among Indian school children?
It's a major problem, not among the school children, but say, for example, when you're crossing 20s, 18s, is when we start seeing the cases of obesity in the past 10 to 15 years. And the root cause is because we're not eating correctly in this.
Okay. Okay. So what do you think schools can do to increase awareness of this issue?
That was actually a very lengthy part of my PPT, which I was coming across. There could be certain programs that could be set up. There could be certain nutritional tie-ups that can be done with the dietitians, which can help understand the psychology of the children and what encourages them to eat correctly. They could also offer a lot of, I would say, healthy eating practices inside the kids. Say, for example, trying to encourage them to bring healthier foods and maybe putting up a competition of who's had the most healthy meal in the last 1 month or 2 months, which also helps the kid to have positive views on how to eat healthy and what could be done to improve their healthy eating habits.
Okay. How can teachers help obese children in bringing up their confidence?
So, teachers should try and understand one-on-one what is causing an unhealthy eating patterns in the kids. So, for example, they're noticing somebody who's getting a lot of, say, eating a lot of canteen khana, or probably they're eating outside food. They could probably have a one-on-one counseling. What could be, why is it so, and how they can actually help them in improving their healthy eating habits, probably giving them substitutes, or probably teachers can arrange a meeting wherein the staff can be provided for healthy eating practices inside the camp.
Okay. So who is responsible for childhood obesity in your view?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
The question is, who is responsible for childhood obesity in your view?
So I feel we cannot pinpoint on one particular thing, but definitely today's day, age, and era, what we see is generally it's the TV, the advertisement of smackalicious foods that are available, pre-packaged fast foods, which is responsible in childhood obesity because it's very clear to the parents and the kids. It's appealing, it's fast, and in this fast-forward lifestyle, it makes ample of difference to just grab and go. So I think that's the major responsible, um, I would say, trigger in childhood obesity. The marketing of foods, the unhealthy foods that is seen.
Okay. So do you work directly with schools to create awareness on this issue, Ms. Sahiba?
So I haven't yet started with. That is something I'm looking forward to. and I haven't yet started it with as of now.
Okay. So why is it important to optimum eating habits in childhood? I think like you have mentioned this point, but can you elaborate on that?
Definitely. So, the major thing that we see in children is when they start experimenting with food, it's a sense of freedom they achieve. Before preteen years, when they are children, a lot of their eating habits is regulated by parents. Once they get that freedom of eating on their own or choosing the food that they're eating on their own, it's a freedom that they like to take and be aware of. So what happens at that point is children tend to, uh, with improper guidance, they tend to go forward here and there, and they try to experiment a lot with the unhealthy food because it's appealing, it's easier, and they don't have to bother anybody to make it for them. So I think that's the major reason why children tend to deflect from healthy eating patterns because their improper guidance, it's easy and fastly available, and that could be the reason.
So do you say the habit is the main culprit for bad eating habits?
More than habit, I think it's the sense of freedom and the appeal of the foods, the unhealthy foods. Because see, even if the child eats habitually, habitually they should be eating homemade food. It's the sense of freedom to pick and choose whatever they like, maybe in the school canteens, maybe shops around the schools, which could be providing, or probably they've seen something on the TV. The appeal of the food and the freedom that they can choose it for themselves causes unhealthy eating habit with improper guidance or without proper guidance.
Right. So optimum eating also means having adequate food. Do you think children eating less is more of a problem or eating more a bigger problem?
I think eating unhealthy is a problem. Less is more if you're eating healthy, less is definitely more. But if you're eating more, it has to be unhealthy food that you're eating more. What happens is when our body tends to lack certain nutrients, it keeps on providing hunger issues. For example, I'll give you a simple term. If you are deficient in magnesium nutrient, okay, you tend to crave sweet. The more sweet you eat, you won't still be sufficed with it because magnesium is still low. But if you eat one date, which is rich in magnesium, you're done with the sweet. If the
Okay.
kid is asking for more chocolates, give him one date. Ask him if he needs more. He'll never say, I need more. But you give him chocolate and ask him if he needs more. He'll definitely say, yes, I need more. And it has nothing to do with the sweet tooth. What causes sweetness or sweet craving is the magnesium which has come down. So I hope you're able to understand it's not the less is more or the more is more. It's the unhealthy choice of the food that causes the obesity, which habit we are continuing. You give the kid one chocolate every day, he'll have obesity. Why? Because it's a habit, an unhealthy one. You give one date every day, I can assure you he won't get into obesity. Why? Because it's a healthier habit. Both are sweet.
Good to know. So date will keep the obesity away, we can say now. Right. So we don't fall for the desserts all the time. Next
That's
question
great.
is, Ms. Sahiba, what's the most common mistake people make that causes them to fail in their diet?
Mindless eating. You're talking on the phone, eating your food. Watching a TV, eating your food. That's mindless. Your brain does not register how much you've eaten, how much you need to eat more. Does keep on continuously giving you hunger stimuli that causes higher eating in the body, and that causes obesity.
Okay. So what is the unhealthiest food consumed in an average Indian household?
I feel it's the vegetable oils that we consume because it's ample of trans fats. refined oils, daldas that we actually take. We should actually go back to the coconut oils, the ghees that we used to traditionally make food from, and we used to eat that. I think that's the unhealthiest vegetable, refined vegetable oils that we take in a household that causes the most problem in the body.
So thank you for the very good discussion, Ms. Sahiba. Like it was very helpful. Do you want to add anything else to this topic? We are exceeding
Um,
the time limit.
no, thank you. That's I think that's the only thing that I would like to conclude with. And hopefully next time I'll be able to shorten my PPT so that we could complete it on time. However, the topic was quite vast, and I wanted to come across with all the points. However, I think these questions were good enough to conclude the topic. So I think that's something that we can work on.
Thank you. School Journal of Education and schoolreformer.com. Thank you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions, Ms. Sahiba. We also thank the audience for participating in the event. We will end the session now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.